How would you like to be an elite athlete on scholarship studying in the USA? I'm about to give you 4 free videos and a bunch of free tools to get you started. So who's this video series going to work for? Basically, if you're a student athlete still at school or the parent of a student athlete, you're male or female, and you're aged between 14 and 18, you're passionate about your sports, and you're solid academically, so you're passing your subjects. You don't need to be a rocket scientist, but as a student athlete, you do have to have strong academics, and you want a world-class degree, and you get excited about the prospects of traveling overseas and the adventure that comes with that. If that's you, then you're going to get a lot out of this video series and the free tools that we're going to give you. So I'm Derek Morgan, the founder of USASportsScholarship.com and the 30-day game plan. Along with my wife Melissa, we're also proud parents of 2 daughters, Georgia and Amelia. They're both on their own sports scholarship journey and at different stages. Georgia is in her 2nd year of college in the US and basically loving the experience over there. She's a field hockey player playing for a prestigious NCAA Division I program, and her younger sister Amelia is currently in her 2nd last year of school, following in her sister's footsteps and basically on her own sports scholarship journey. And what we're going to run through here is a lot of the challenges and pitfalls that we faced as parents, that Georgia faced as an athlete, going through the recruitment process. We went through the recruitment process with a recruitment agency, didn't get anywhere near the results that we were looking for, and then at the end of the day had to go it alone at the last minute. So what we want to do is make sure that you don't fall into the same pitfalls and traps that we did, and that you learn from and benefit from our experience. Amelia's having a completely different experience around her sports scholarship journey based on what we learned going through the process with Georgia. So there's some certain things that every student athlete needs to know about getting a sports scholarship at a college in the USA. And basically there's 5 critical things that you must get right if you're going to give yourself the best opportunity of being recruited. Okay, so before we jump into that, I want to take a look at a few things. So what can a sports scholarship do for you as a student athlete? So if you want to take your sports to the next level, the US is a great opportunity for you. Basically, the elite sports programs over there are like nothing else on the planet. The college sports, the people that follow those college sporting teams are absolutely fanatical supporters in the best sense of the term. Okay, the infrastructure over there is amazing. The level of coaches, the professionalism of these amateur college programs are just amazing. In a lot of cases, they are way beyond what is available in most countries' national programs. So, if you're knocking on the door of that next stage of representation in your home country and you're not quite getting the recognition that you deserve, then the US college system can give you a massive amount of infrastructure and support. So you've got multiple full-time coaches within the teams and the programs that you're going into. You've got a squad of new friends. So you might be moving overseas as an international athlete, but you're automatically, as an athlete going into a team, you know that you already have a friends network as soon as you come into a team, because you've got all these like-minded, passionate people that you're playing with. So the transition into the US college system can be a really, really smooth one. And typically as a student athlete, when you're going into these programs and with social media the way that it is, you build relationships way before you even get to the USA. So when you're in season in these elite programs, you depending on what division you're in and what program you're in, you're getting probably 20 hours or up to 20 hours contact hours a week with video training, actively training other weights. You're doing all sorts of different health and fitness programs in and around your sports. So you've got a lot of contact time, and that really creates an environment for you to fast track your growth in your sports. And obviously, with a high ratio of coaches to athletes in all of these programs, you're getting a lot of one-on-one coaching, and the contact hours means it's a great environment for you to level up with your skills. You're also playing typically multiple games over a weekend when you're in season, and there's a lot of travel involved. So every other weekend you're going to different colleges, probably different states. So you're getting to have a great look around at the USA during the 4 years that you're over there at college. And the professionalism of the sports programs over there and the staff is just amazing. The depth of support in these programs with sports psychologists, nutritionists, physical trainers. You've got all sorts of medical staff available and there to support you. So that's what we talk about. These programs are really run at a professional level. And you also have an army of supporters. So with the games, you can see from this stadium shot, there's over 100,000 people at this stadium. This is Penn State's stadium. They have these things called tailgates, and they're basically celebrations after the games. And in this case at Penn State, they have these parties going on outside of the stadium that they call tailgates, and basically barbecues or picnics that run out of the back of trucks and whatnot in the car parks. So it's a really festive process, and a lot of the families will actually travel to follow the teams and their games. And as you can see, college sports, different sports get different levels of following, but regardless, all the sports are supported. So it's a really amazing experience for you as an elite student athlete. So why look at going to university in the USA when you can get your university degree at home? I mean, there's lots of good universities around the world. The big thing is, as a student athlete, you basically develop differently. At home, you know what your routine's going to look like. So you can put yourself in the picture of what university is going to look like for you at home, because typically you're seeing friends or family or siblings or whatever going through that university process, and you're basically swapping high school for university at home, where your routine's basically the same. You've just got a bit more flexibility around your hours and maybe a part-time job, but your training regime typically for your sport stays exactly the same. Okay, so compare that to living and traveling in the USA as an elite athlete, where you've got all these professional programs that you're participating in as an elite athlete. Okay, you've got all these academic support behind you, because as a student athlete, the coaches need you to perform in the classroom so that they can keep you in the team and playing or participating in your sport. So you've got all of these academic advisors, you can have tutors, a whole lot of support to make sure that you're a success on and off the field. And as a student athlete, you develop differently. You develop different skills. Traveling as an international student athlete, traveling overseas, the resilience that builds for you, the character that builds the person you become in that process, makes you stand out for future employers. Okay, and as we talked about, you've got a lot of academic support behind you, so you're not alone in this process. And the whole US college system, particularly in and around student athletes, really sets you up for success. I mean, typically in your home country, you go to university and it's up to you to succeed, and you're basically going it alone within that infrastructure. Okay, you've got nobody holding you accountable necessarily, maybe your parents and yourself, but the teachers, if you're not succeeding, it's up to you to find your own way through that process. So there's massive amount of academic support to help you succeed in the classroom. And in the process, you develop global networks, and I can't go into that in depth, but talk to your parents about that. Understand that the people that you connect with and the people that you know add massive value to you long term in your career. Okay, so the alumni networks over in the US are, something to behold. They're just extraordinarily supportive networks. So the past students that have gone through that college basically have a lifelong relationship with that college. And from a career perspective, it can add massive value, the networks that you build in. And because the colleges are really hungry to recruit international students, because it adds a whole lot to their sporting programs, it adds a whole lot to their academic programs. The diversity of cultures and personalities and countries, etc., has massive benefits in that learning environment. So they're very hungry to attract high caliber athletes into these programs. Okay, and this makes you far more interesting as a potential candidate for future jobs. Okay, so if your resume will stand out having lived and traveled overseas. So you're returning home to work, and you're returning home as an international athlete that's got a global degree and traveled the US and lived a life that's quite different and extraordinary compared to the average student. Okay, so your degree on its own is not your point of difference when you're going for a job. Yes, it's important. You need your degree to get a start in the career that you're targeting. But at the end of the day, what's making you stand out against all the other applicants with a degree? Okay, in this case, studying overseas, it is the person that you become, the experiences that you have, the stories that you can tell, makes your resume stand out, makes you stand out in interviews. So that's probably the international networks, and the person you become is the biggest value add here. And then obviously you've got the advantages of the sporting programs if you're looking to become a professional athlete or move into national programs. Okay, there's lots of international athletes that come through the US college system to make teams back in their home country. Okay, so before we jump into the critical things that you need to do, firstly, you need to make sure that the USA is going to be right for you. Okay, so you can take a look at what a day in the life of a student athlete is quite easily. Google and YouTube are your best friends when it comes to research and finding out what's on offer and whether it's going to be right for you. So if you just jump onto YouTube, you type in a day in the life of a student athlete and then the sport that you play, and then you can get videos from all sorts of different colleges in and around your sport, and just see what sort of infrastructure and resources and programs that athletes run through, so you can get a feel as to whether this is even going to be right for you. If you go to our YouTube channel and click subscribe, you'll get all the videos that we regularly post in and around student athletes, what's going on with student athletes, sports, tips and tools and ideas to help you with your sports scholarship journey. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we've made it even easier for you to find all of this information. You can just click on the button below this video to go to a list of day in the life of a student athlete videos. You can use that same search process if you want to search for a specific university, for example. So if you said, look, I want to look at Harvard soccer players. So you could go a day in the life of Harvard soccer and just do a search like that and drill down as deep as you like. Okay, but we've already built a list there of different universities, so you can get a feel for what the US college student lifestyle is like. Okay, so what I want to do now is just run through the 5 critical things that you need to get right. Now, we've put together a detailed checklist for you, so you can grab those resources. I'll show you how to do that shortly, so you can get instant access to those. The first thing you need to do before you go spending any money on recruitment agents or anything crazy like that, you need to look at your eligibility. Okay, so we're going to cover that in detail in the next video. And there's certain things that coaches are going to want to see from you. So you need to build an athlete resume, and that's just your basic personal details, academic details, sporting critical information that they're going to want to see, so that once you get their attention, you give the coach what they need to start to engage with you, okay? So there's no point chasing coaches if you're not right for their program. And likewise, a coach is going to want to see some basic information, and you need to make it easy for them so that they can start to get a feel whether you're likely to be right for their program. Okay, it's all about communication, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. Now, in the checklist, we've given you a whole bunch of things that you need to do around your social media profile and making sure that you're making the best first impression that you can. You know, you don't want to be doing dumb things on your social media that's going to shoot yourself in the foot and create a really bad first impression with coaches. You know, so a big rule of thumb is anything that you're going to post, make sure that it's not cringeworthy. You know, the thing, how you judge your posts and whether they're appropriate or not is, would your teachers find it appropriate? Would your grandparents find it appropriate? Okay, and if the answer to either of those questions is no, then you shouldn't be posting it on your social media if you're serious about getting a sports scholarship, because your brand, your personal brand, is your biggest asset, and your social media is part of your personal brand. Now, I've seen some really cringe-worthy stuff on social media. You know, we get athletes, student athletes, reaching out to us saying, you know, I want you to help us get a sports scholarship. First thing you do is go and check out their social media profile, and you don't have to scroll too far, and then you just find some really inappropriate posts, and you just go, you know what? First impression is horrible. A coach is not going to go near you. Okay, so you need to do an audit on your social media profile, and there's a whole lot of security checks that you need to do around not letting people tag you without your permission, not letting people post to your page without approval, okay? Because depending on how high profile your sport is and how high profile the colleges are that you're applying to, coaches can sometimes get independent auditors to actually go and investigate your profiles and the profiles of your friends to see who you're associating with and how you're conducting yourself publicly. Okay, so personal brand, your biggest asset. So we go deeper into that in later videos. Okay, so the other thing that you need to really get right is having video highlights. These are really critical. Okay, so make sure you're videoing your games, because if you've got the footage, you can decide not to use it if you don't want to. But if you have the game of your life and you haven't recorded it, you're going to be really disappointed. Okay, so capture video, capture it regularly, and then there's a whole bunch of things that you need to do just to make it easy for coaches to identify who you are in the video, and making sure that you're capturing the play properly. So yeah, grab the checklist. I'm not going to go through all of these points independently, otherwise this whole checklist will be here for hours, but I will dig into these in later videos as well. Okay, so contacting coaches directly, this can make or break the process for you. And you need to understand you can't just rely on your recruitment agents. We did that. We went through that process, and basically very late in our scholarship journey, our daughter Georgia she had a couple of really basic offers from colleges that were nowhere near the types of programs that she was capable of getting a scholarship at, or that she wanted. So we had to go it alone at the last minute, having spent thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of time with these coaches, only to find they couldn't get us a result. And now that we're running our 30 USA in 30 days program and our 30-day game plan, we're talking with parents every single week that are telling us the same types of horror stories around their experience with recruitment agents. They basically had the same experience we did. Paid thousands and thousands of dollars with an expectation that they're going to get a result, and it's just not happening for them through the agents. So they're having to do what we did and take control of the process. Now, whether you're with an agent or you're not with an agent, whether you want to go with an agent or you want to go it alone, we're here to help you with our 30-day game plan. So I'll talk about that much later. But just understand, in video 3, we go into detail around contacting coaches, some of the do's and don'ts, and also some of the insider secrets that the recruitment agents simply won't tell you. Okay, so, and that's video 3. So we want to help you avoid making the same mistakes that we made. Okay, so in video 2, we'll give you resources to get you started around researching your options and take you through the things you need to know about how sports scholarships work in the USA. Okay, but to get instant access to video 2, just click on the blue button below this video. Okay, and make sure that you, if you have any questions, just pop those questions into the comments box below, and we'll look to answer those in future videos. Okay, so yeah, pop a comment in there, leave us a message, and that's where I check all of those out, and then any questions you've got, we'll look to cover off on those in future videos. Okay, so yeah, make sure you grab the resources below, and we look forward to chatting with you in video 2.